have a video here on a sister giving her take or stance on the support for Palestinian and Israel war. Watch this.
Let me be very, very clear about this because a lot of y'all are sending me videos about Palestine. I do not support Palestine. I do not support Israel. I do not know enough about it, nor will I be researching it. Anytime that slavery can last for 400 years and you act like it's no big whoop, where were you? Anytime that you care more about the Holocaust and everybody gets paid except for the black community, where were you? I'm not supporting anybody's cause because the black community is still reeling and still feeling the effects from slavery, and everybody else is still benefiting from slavery with generational wealth. I do not care about Palestine. I do not care about Israel. I do not care about what's going on in Africa. I do not care about the ills of the world because, well, when it comes to the black community and black people, where were you? So stop sending me the videos. Stop asking me to support. Stop asking me to pick one side over another because, well, it's not my business. If slavery wasn't your business, why are the ills that the world is doing to you my business? I'm going to stay over here and mind my black ass business. Stop asking me to do otherwise.
Now, I'm in total agreement with this sister. Why are we supporting Palestinians or Israelis? Who cares? They didn't care about our cause. They didn't care about supporting us when we were asking for reparations and still to this day asking for reparations. We're asking for equality. No one out of that group was in solidarity with us. So why are we supporting? Why are we getting involved? It's not our business. Really. Even here today in Chicago, you have the immigrants coming in and they're pretty much moving out the Black Americans, giving them all kinds of monies and just doing the most for them, but nothing for the Black Americans or the Black Chicagoans. It's pretty sad. Where are the Palestinians now in solidarity with the Chicagoans concerning that issue and many other issues that's going on in Chicago or all around this country concerning Black Americans? Will they stand in solidarity with us for reparations? Because we're still fighting about that. It's owed. It's a debt that needs to be paid. But are they speaking up? I think not. Do they even care? I think not. Now, one of my relatives just lost a job with Tesla. Yes, I said Tesla. Because they want to bring in immigrants to work to give them less pay. Push out the blacks, bring in the immigrants to work. Yeah, they gave them a servant's pay, of course, but it would never be enough. Never. Because they have to find another job. They let go several blacks. Now they'll say, oh no, that don't have anything to do with it. We needed to get rid of them and this and that. We couldn't afford them, whatever the case may be. We're not making enough money, whatever the case may be. They made sure that they got rid of mainly black people. And they're going to hire immigrants in their place. Please believe that. I have an article here. The article is from Freeman's Initiative, Reparations. And it's going to give you a little background of what happened here in America. It says that the United States of America would not be a world superpower without the nearly 2.5 centuries of free labor from its black chattel slaves. In the North, employees of mills, railroads, insurance companies, banks, and other financial institutions were just as dependent on slave economy as the South, especially after cotton became king. The wealth generated from the inhumanity of American chattel slavery and indisputably a principal reason for the United States' current economic and geopolitical standing. The 4 million chattel slaves in America had a combined economic value greater than the aggregate industrial capital in this country before the Civil War started. The chattel slaves were wealth in and of themselves, and they created wealth for their enslaved via the fruits of their labor and their bodies. Because they had no autonomy over their own bodies, they generated wealth just by giving birth to new slaves who could be sold or used to serve their enslavers' families for generations. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a lot of them making statements like, we don't owe you nothing. And I know that it's not equal. I understand that we have others, them that's not wealthy. Yeah. But those that are still keeping their foot on the necks and the backs of the blacks. We are still going through here in this country. So I'm asking the question, why are we? Why are we concerning ourselves with a Palestinian war when we need to be concerning ourselves with ourselves? Now, I'm not speaking to every Black American because I know that every Black American do not feel the same. We do not have like minds. I'm only speaking to those with like minds. That reparations is needed. Reparations, we should be getting reparations, not because they don't owe us. It's because we're owed that. They need to make their right wrong. Now, in the same article, I want to say this of what it's saying because it brings out a valid point. It says, not supporting reparations for the descendants of American chattel slavery demonstrates a profound lack of historical literacy about the United States, race, and economics. While chattel slavery in America created the initial disparities in wealth that continue today between whites and the descendants of American chattel slaves, it was our government and the influence of white institutions and white mob violence, such as the Red Summer of 1919, that further injured and impeded both the former chattel slaves and their descendants from building wealth in this country. After slavery, the injuries and the impediments occurred in a myriad of ways, including but not limited to billions of dollars in unpaid labor, thousands of individual whippings and beatings of former chattel slaves, failure of the federal government to adequately protect and provision the newly freed chattel slaves, thousands of sundown counties and towns 1880 to present. We have some here in the state of Illinois. Exclusion from homestead acts and discrimination and subsequent land grant initiatives. Land thefts, including heirs' property. Exclusion from the Wagner Acts of 1935, collective bargaining rights/unions. Denial of pensions to the former chattel slaves. Unemployment of Black sharecroppers caused by the Agricultural Adjustment Act. Limited access to financial institutions and credit. Limited ability to purchase land. Exclusion from the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. Black Codes 1865 to 1867 replaced the slave codes but were the same social control laws. Black veterans denied the promises of the 1944 Servicemen's Readjustment Act, GI Bill. Failure to make good on the 1865 Special Field Orders number 15, 40 acres and a mule, exclusion from the Aid to Dependent Children program, failure to maintain Reconstruction era policies like political representation and Freedmen Bureau Act, discrimination in education, discrimination in employment and the federal market, Civil Rights Act. 1875, ignored and declared unconstitutional in 1883. Federal sanctioning of lower wages for Black people. Jim Crow laws, 1876 to 1965. Federally sanctioned lower wages for Black people, housing discrimination, grandfather clauses, poll taxes, property, ownership, and literacy tests, denied right to vote. Redlining and other discrimination in mortgage lending, cash bail system, environmental racism, criminalization of poverty and unemployment, uniquely American concepts, forced mass displacement of our communities via mob violence and eminent domain seizures, mass incarceration, convict leasing, and chain gangs. Highway Act of 1956 effectuated systematic gutting of black communities, exploitative labor contracts. Most former chattel slaves could not read. Segregation, separate but equal. More forced labor, often paid in script, in the form of peonage, sharecropping, tenant farming, forced sterilizations under eugenics programs in the U.S., congregational mismanagement of the Freedmen's Savings Bank, nearly 3 million lost in 1874, medical experimentation, ongoing loan discrimination against black farmers by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, lack of universal health care, war on poverty in 1964, widespread terrorism via unchecked lynchings, rape, arson, and white caping, war on drugs in 1971, now 50 plus years of racialized incarceration. Red Summer of 1919, including Elaine, Arkansas, Chicago, Illinois, Omaha, Nebraska. Crime Bill of 1984 contributed to ongoing rampant police misconduct and racial profiling, expanded application of the death penalty, life sentences for juveniles, three strikes law. I can go on and on and on the things that were done to our people in this country. Palestinians, are you willing to fight alongside of the Black Americans in support of reparations? Now that I've read not all, but some of the things that was done to our ancestors and still to their descendants, even now in this country. Ask yourselves that question. Do you think Palestinians are willing to protest and fight and stand in solidarity with the Black community? Ask yourself that. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.